Welcome back! Now that you understand the only 4 pages you need to sell anything online, it's time to learn some copywriting basics so you can fill those pages with words that move people to action. Words that compel people to lean in, nod their head, sign up, pull out their credit cards, and hit the buy button. Words that are designed to convert and to sell are called copy, and copy is everywhere. Online copy is the bones of your web pages. It's the core text that guides people through your pages and tells them what they need to know. It's also the words that you write in your emails. Offline, copy is used on billboards and signs to get your attention, in magazines and newspapers, direct mail, and brochures. If you already have a website and run an online business, you obviously know how important it is to get the right words on your site. Without it, people won't know who you are and what you do. So I guess you could say that these are the words that drive your business. Copy helps you pass the 3 to 7 second test by answering what is it and why should I care? We spent a lot of time in the masterclass focused on your product name and mission to give you the most important words that you need to quickly and almost instantaneously answer those 2 all-important questions. So congratulations! Simply having a handful of the right words can make a major difference in your experience product success. We've already had people in this masterclass reach mission accomplished simply by sharing their mission statement. These words are super powerful. Now, what if I were to tell you that you've already written most of your sales page copy? Your mission, future self vision, product origin story, social proof, feature and benefit descriptions, bonus, and guarantee info form 80% of your sales page. For most people, writing their sales page is a big, scary thing, but you pretty much have it written already. I'd say you have 80% of the work done already.
Eureka!
Yeah, that's right. You got the moves and you didn't even realize it. So I wrote this video in collaboration with my absolutely brilliant husband, Murray, who is professionally trained as a copywriter and the wizard behind the curtain of many of our marketing campaigns. The first thing that you need to know is that copy is different from content. Marketing is different from training. While you can create content or education-based marketing that teaches as it sells, writing and speaking to sell is different than writing and speaking to simply inform, inspire, or educate. It usually takes me at least twice as long to write marketing copy as it does to write a training like this one, because this is a deep skill set that takes time and practice to develop. As you listen to this training, don't put any pressure on yourself to absorb all of this in one session or try to become a master copywriter in the next few weeks. It's just not possible. Even if you walk away with just a few tips on how to write copy for the web, I would consider that a huge success. So even though this is one of the longest, meatiest trainings in this entire program, I want you to keep in mind that the goal here is to get an introduction to the topic and not to try to master the topic. Remember when I said that marketing at a deeper level is a process of helping someone create the mindset, beliefs, and conditions to make a change in their life that they want, but can't attain on their own? It's a necessary first step to influence and impact. And in order to do that, you have to put yourself in your prospect's shoes. You have to understand why and how people buy. And once you get this, you'll have more power than you realize, as long as you never lose focus on the buyer. Now, when I use words like power and influence, I'm not talking about mwahahaha, evil manipulative juju. I'm talking about supporting people to make a choice that aligns with their deepest aspirations and desires, supporting them to move from feeling stuck, confused, and unfulfilled to really attaining the business, the life, the relationship, and the body they desire. Now, who doesn't want that? As Ray Edwards said, marketing isn't something you do to people, it's something you do for them. Now, copywriting isn't that mysterious. We have over 100 years of data on tested and true tactics that always work when you want to get more people to buy or take some form of action. Headlines that worked in the 1920s still work just as well today. If every business on the planet actually used these basic copywriting tactics, you're going to learn in this training to focus on the buyer and what they need. Instead of focusing on their product, sales would increase across the board, lifting the world out of global recession, saving the whales, and decreasing road rage by 37%. Yes, words can change the world. When you use the right words in your presentations, emails, and web pages, you'll catch your visitors' attention, inspire them to engage with you, and compel them to invest their time, attention, and money with you. As my friend Michael Drew says, before you can win someone's money, first you have to win their time. And the best way to win their time is to inspire them to read, watch, or listen by using the right words. And I said the right words here for a very important reason. And that reason is that not all words are created equal, and too many people make the number one biggest mistake of writing copy. Whatever their subject, topic, niche, or message, they assume that visitors are naturally going to see the value, want to work with them, want to sign up, want to register, want to pay money, etc., etc., etc. Because they're in love with their work and fascinated by their topic, they assume that everyone else will be as well. This is a phenomenon called cognitive bias, which is a fancy way to say that yes, you are crazy. Just kidding. It's a fancy way to say that your perception is your reality. Here's an example. Let's say my mission is to help the world by giving poor children ukuleles to wear on their feet. An obviously vital cause, right? But the shocking and sad fact is that a cause this important isn't going to sell itself. No siree, Bob. No matter what your message for the world, you still have to do the work to figure out what it means to your tribe. You need to understand that nobody is going to land on your website ATM pages, instantly get it, and take the right action if you haven't phrased it in words they can understand. It's not enough to simply have an amazing cause or an amazing message. Listen, I don't care what you're selling. If you want people to care, you absolutely need to use the right words that bring home to your readers why they should care, how they should engage with you, and how it will benefit them when they do. The right words land in the right way, they're understood, and they inspire people to take action, in some cases, huge action. But the wrong words will land flat. Your visitors will be confused about what it is that you do, who you help, how you help, why to engage with you, and exactly how they should go about doing that. Let me give you a quick example of the power of choosing the right words. How do you feel when I say words such as nice, miscellaneous, essay, summary, textbook, work, subscribe? I already feel kind of deflated just reading them aloud. What about you? Now let's take a second and contrast them with words such as urgent, elite, ingenious, powerful, jumpstart, quickly, limited, discover, and engage. Those are all examples of what are commonly called power words. Power words are words that contain more punch, more juice, more fuel, the kind of words where your pulse fires up a bit when you hear them. The kind of words that inspire excitement, enthusiasm, and action. When you make the choice to use more powerful words, then it's like you suddenly have the ability to reach through your prospect's screen and grab them by the neck or take them by the hand, whichever is more your style. It's amazing how tweaking little things can have big outcomes. And in this training, we're going to talk about how to tweak your words for big results. I'm going to talk about the 3 top places that you can improve your copy right away. The places with the biggest bottom line result potential. And those are your general online writing style. Most people write well enough, but I'm going to show you a handful of simple ways to adjust the way that you write when you're online that will add huge amounts of energy and interest to your words and bring your web pages and marketing to life. Your headlines. 80% of people don't read your web pages. They skim for the most part, but they will read the headlines, and each section of most web pages begins with the headline. I'm going to show you some great ways to supercharge your headlines and speak directly to your target audience. This is bar none the most important copy on any web page. And your squeeze pages. You learned about squeeze pages in the last training. They're the workhorses responsible for building your list and growing your business. I'm going to show you how to turn a lame duck squeeze page into a thoroughbred racehorse built for conversion by learning how to write effective bullet points. And then later on in this module, you'll learn more about using the right words in your emails. From subject lines that beg to be open to links that must be clicked now. If you just work on improving your copy in these 4 areas, tweaking your general online writing style, your headlines, your squeeze pages, and your emails, then I can guarantee without a doubt that your results will skyrocket. And I say that without any exaggeration whatsoever. I've done it and I've seen others do it. And I've watched many of you do it already in this masterclass. Please keep in mind that learning how to write is a deep, rich topic. So this is a longer training and it may be a lot to take in if you don't consider yourself a natural writer. If you aren't creating any website ATM pages, you may want to watch the first part of the training on general online writing, then skip the rest. Here's the thing. Whether you speak or you write, your choice of words can easily mean the difference between a queue of people in the middle of the night or going out of business, a hot product or lackluster sales. The online space demands a radically different kind of writing than what we learned in school. If you want to keep people on your web pages for longer than a few seconds, so you can move them to action, then these 6 pro writing tips will help you improve your general online writing style. So here's tip number 1 for getting more people to read your stuff. Use fewer, smaller, and simpler words. Whether you're writing for professors or the general public, avoid the temptation to use an obscure word when a simple one will do. Obscure words will distract your readers. As a matter of fact, the more complex the idea, the more important it is to find a simple way to convey it. In fact, many copywriters will tell you that the best performing copy is always written with the 5th grade vocabulary. So keep that in mind the next time that you're tempted to pull out one of your fancy 10-cent words. Tip number 2, beware of adjectives. Adjectives are poison to your message and will set off your visitor's hype detector faster than a huge sale with the lowest possible prices ever. Use a stronger noun if that means that you can leave out an adjective. A crisis is always better than a severe problem. And that brings me to my next point. Tip number 3, use power words. A power word is any word that carries its own emotional punch. No one reads a good power word without having their heart beat a little faster, their mind explode with old memories, or at least some tiny part of their system taking note. There are almost no adjective power words. Take the word busted. No one reads or hears that word without having a visceral reaction to it. Everyone's been busted doing something embarrassing at some point and felt humiliated. Whoa, there's another one, humiliated. So when you write headlines or email subject lines, always try to include a power word where possible. Even using just a few well-chosen power words in your copy here and there will instantly increase your reader's interest. It's a cornerstone of great, compact, intense writing that compels. Tip number 4, on the web, limit your sentences and even your paragraphs to one simple point. And keep those paragraphs short, preferably just 1 sentence per paragraph. And in email, definitely limit your paragraphs to 1 sentence. Hell, many times I even write sentences that consist of a single word. Really. Now, it may not be grammatical, but it gets the point across. Then who cares? I'd rather get my stuff read than be grammatically correct. Often the best web copy is not grammatically correct. You heard me right. Take a deep breath. It's gonna be all right. Everything you learned in school about proper grammar and writing will not help you sell your products. So why do one-word sentences help? Well, first of all, nobody has time to read big chunks of text anymore. Ever hit a page that was so text-heavy that you didn't even know where to begin? It happens all the time, right? So in most cases, what do? You don't read it, right? You hit the back button. And maybe, just maybe, if the page is especially important, or it's an article or something you actually want to read, you'll bookmark it in a folder called One Day, and for most of us, one day never comes. So don't do chunky, dense blocks of text. Instead, mix up the density of your writing so that it's interesting to the eye. Mix short 1-sentence paragraphs with longer sentences. Make it easy to quickly scan through and keep your reader's eyes moving down the page easily, quickly, point by point. That gives them the sense that they're making progress. It keeps them engaged and understanding what you're talking about. And it sets them up to win. Tip number 5, be conversational. Be yourself and tell stories. People want to hear from a real person with a real personality. If you're dry or boring, no one will pay attention to you. If you're too general or too formal, we're not going to connect with your humanity. Keep it interesting and keep it real. Many people have the tendency to lose all personality when they start talking about their business. They feel like they have to be credible and professional, so they stop being themselves. They mistake professional with credible, and because they sound just like everyone else, they're lost in the noise of a billion websites. I show my personality and share stories in just about every training, every email, every blog post, and every video. And that's why we get such huge engagement on our blog and our marketing and in our programs. Tip number 6, finally end everything you write with a strong, compelling call to action. Always, always, always let people know exactly what to do next or how to take action. This is the most overlooked part of writing for the web. Don't assume that your reader will just figure out what to read next when they get to the end of your email, or the end of your page. Direct them to the next action or thing that you want them to do. It can be as simple as a link that says read more, or it can be as specific as leave your name and email address for instant access to the special report. Or want more training like this? Find out about our product name here. If you practice these 6 tips alone, you'll notice immediate boost in engagement, interest, and excitement from your prospects. You'll see more survey responses, email opens, longer website visits, and ultimately more signups and more sales for your products. The more you practice, the better you'll get, and the better your results. Okay, that's it for improving your general online writing style. Next, we're going to cover headlines, what they are, why you should use them, and some easy to implement ways to write some darn good ones. You only need to learn how to write headlines right now if you're doing a marketing campaign that requires a squeeze page or a sales page. Most of the campaigns that you'll be learning in this module don't require either. The only campaign that requires a squeeze page is the fast result campaign, though some people also choose to build a squeeze page to invite people into a start with an experience campaign. While no campaigns require a sales page, I would recommend creating a sales page for the give them what they want, perfect email, and fast result campaigns if you want to go beyond one-on-one phone sales. That said, if you're just getting started, I usually recommend that everyone begin with one-on-one sales. And the good thing with one-on-one sales is you don't need a sales page. A lot of people get scared when they hear the word headline and think it's all black magic and something that only high-paid ad execs can do, or people on that Mad Men TV show. But at its core, headlines are actually really, really simple. But shh! If I could break it down for you, I'd say that a headline is simply something that promises a specific benefit or reward for the reader in return for the valuable time it takes to read what you have to say. It shares what is it and why you should care. That's it. A headline is the first and sometimes the only impression you make on your visitor. So without a great headline that turns a browser into a reader, a repeat visitor, or a customer, the rest of your words may as well not even exist. Let me repeat that. Without a great headline that turns a browser into a reader, a repeat visitor, or a customer, the rest of your words may as well not even exist. That's why we're going to spend the majority of this training on learning how to get your headlines right. Advertising legend David Ogilvy knew the power of headlines. He knew that his headline literally determined whether the advertisement would get read. He once rewrote a headline for Rolls-Royce 104 times until he was satisfied that he'd nailed it. Here's that headline. At 60 miles an hour, the only thing you hear in the new Rolls-Royce is the ticking of the dashboard clock. Master copywriter Gene Schwartz often spent an entire week on the first 50 words of a sales page, the headline, and the opening paragraph. Those 50 words are the most important part of any persuasive writing, and writing them well takes time, even for the masters. Why? The better the headline, the better your odds of beating the average statistics and getting what you've written read by a larger percentage of people. Of course, writing a great headline doesn't guarantee the success of your writing. You still need to back up what you promised in the headline with your body copy, but great content with a bad headline is doomed to go unread. In fact, I won't even tell you how many websites I see every single day where not a single page even has a headline, and they wonder why their visitors don't stick around and take action. A headline uses a much larger font than the rest of your body copy. Oftentimes, it's 5 to 10 times larger, so it instantly stands out from all the other copy and stuff on your web pages and begs to be read. Without a powerful headline to attract and focus your visitor on what's important for that particular page, whether it's your squeeze page, your confirmation page, your value page, or your sales page, they end up bouncing around randomly from thing to thing, and if they can't work out what your page is about, after a few seconds of quick scanning, they'll leave. Every single page of your website needs a headline to tell people 2 pieces of very important information. What is it and why they should care? In other words, why they should stay and what's in it for them if they do. If there's no headline, then people won't stick around. We just don't have time to commit to read and comprehend a page unless we know what we're in for. The good news is that you've already written your most important headline, the top headline for your sales page. You may not remember this, but I actually tricked you into writing the most important headline for your experience product way back at the beginning of the Nailing Your Offer module. Let me show you how this works. Here's our mission again. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to design, market, and make at least $2,000 or a whole lot more in 10 weeks or less with an experienced product. All you need to do to create your first attention-grabbing, money-making headline is to take out the words "your mission should you choose to accept it" and focus on the core promise of your mission statement. Here's the top headline for our 2016 Experience Product Masterclass sales page. Design, market, and make $2,000 or more with an experience product in the next 8 weeks. And here's my student Jesse Krieger's headline. Imagine looking on Amazon and seeing your book on the bestseller list next to your author heroes. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to complete a beautiful finished book, become a #1 best-selling author, and build a 6-figure book-based business and brand. Now with Des Caroy, who I used as a case study in the last module, we ended up adapting his product mission a bit to make it a better headline. His mission statement was longer and more poetic. Your mission, should you and your partner choose to accept it, is to take the red pill and see just how deep the rabbit hole of true intimacy can go after you learn the art of radical connection to transform the quality of your relationship so you can, within 90 days, experience the heights of a heartfelt communion which few ever attain. So instead of using the mission, we pulled out the core benefits of his product and created this alternate headline. Transform your relationship, obliterate communication blocks, and experience deep heartfelt connection in 90 days. We also added a pre-headline to make his main headline more intriguing. The secret to relationship growth, intimacy, and hot sex is not what you think. So whether you can use your mission statement as your top headline pretty much word for word, or you need to adapt it some, you've already done all the heavy lifting for your main headline since you've already tuned into the core promise of your experience product. That's why we spent so much time in this program getting that just right, and why many of you already wrote and rewrote your mission statement so many times. There's a reason for everything. When it comes to writing the rest of your sales page, headlines play a key role. Each section of your sales page starts with a headline called a lead. Now let me save you a lot of time and share the secret to writing a good sales page, and not a lot of people know this. Here it is. Write the leads so they tell a story, and write the leads first. In other words, if someone were to come to your sales page and only read the headlines, they would understand the full story of your sales page, because the headline for each section of your page conveys the story of that section. Whether that's the top headline, the headline that begins the core problem section, the solution section, or your product origin story section, each headline tells the story of that section, and all the headlines together form the story of your sales page. In other words, if you skim the sales page reading only the headlines, you would walk away with the basic story of the sales page. Don't believe me? Let's take a quick headline tour down the 2016 Experience Product Masterclass sales page so I can show you how all the headlines together form a story. If we've done our job well, you should be able to tune into the story of our product by skimming the page and only reading the headlines. Keep in mind that this is a really long-form sales page, and you don't need to do anything nearly as long as this for the beta version of your product. While I have 2 to 5 sections for each main feature of the sales page, the problem, the solution, and the story, you can cover each of these with one section of content. The top headline is the mission or promise of the program. Design, market, and make $2,000 with your first experience product in the next 8 weeks. Now, the next 3 sections are about the problem. And remember, you don't need to write 3 sections like we have here. You can create a simple sales page with just 1 section of text per area of your sales page. The 2 dirty little secrets of the information product industry that nobody's talking about. Information products and home study courses don't actually work, and they never did. How this obsession with selling information is killing your business. Then I pivot to 2 sections on my product origin story. Hi, I'm Marisa Murgatroyd, and my first information product sucked. How 2 dead-end jobs led to a critical insight that changed everything. Are you seeing how the story is forming from just the headlines alone? Pretty neat, right? Okay, let's continue on to the next 5 sections about the solution. Why this discovery literally changed everything. Humans learn best when they're not actually trying to learn. How does this apply to me selling my information and expertise online for real money? So I tried it out, and what happened next blew the doors off what I thought was possible. Word got out, and my students went crazy for it. Then I share a case study that overcomes an objection. The headline for this is, "My situation is different. Will this work for me?" Then back to the solution. That's when I knew that I'd solved a big problem. Then into my product features. What's inside the Experience Product Masterclass? Then pricing and guarantee. Guarantee number 1, design, market, and make at least $2,000 from your first experience product in 8 weeks or less. Guarantee number 2, your double your money back guarantee. And I'm going to skip a few sections here and get to the final inspirational message that closes the page. What does the future look like for you? What do you want to achieve? I hope you can see that all the headlines together form the story of our product. It's a Cliff Notes version of the sales page that allows my prospects to skim the page and get the point without reading every word. You getting this? Great. Now let's talk about how we created all these headlines and how you can learn to write great headlines that will position you in the right way so that people understand what you do and why they should stay. I'm lucky enough to have married an amazing copywriter, and Murray identified 3 simple types of headlines to help you become a headline hero. He actually analyzed more than 500 headlines of successful websites and companies that get all or most of their business online to come up with these formulas. He looked at graduates of top startup incubators that have achieved commercial success and businesses that have made it onto the Inc. 5000 list. He avoided looking at companies that are already huge and very successful, let's say Google, Amazon, or Facebook, since those guys operate on completely different terms. And what he discovered in looking at these headlines were trends, formulas that were working for these businesses, and formulas that we use all the time in our work. Let's start with the 3 simple types of headlines, along with 3 examples for each. Then I'll give you some final tips and techniques for spicing up your headlines. Headline type number 1 is say what it is. The brain is a questioning organ. Whenever we see something new, our brain asks, what is it? And is it dangerous? We need to make sense of things and categorize them. This type of headline addresses this fundamental question. The first example of a great headline using this formula is rocketlawyer.com. Their short, punchy headline quickly explains what it is, legal made simple. There's no way to misinterpret that, and if you're in the market for that kind of service, then they've got you instantly with those 3 words. And another example, this time from my client Lori DePar, a coach for people who have ADHD. She says exactly what it is, coaching for ADHD. That's a super simple headline that enables you to instantly make sense of what the site is, who it's here to help, and why you should stick around. So exercise time. Let's say I were to ask you to say what it is about your experience product. How would you answer? I'd like you to take a minute or 2 and write 3 possible headlines that you can use on your squeeze page or sales page to say what it is as specifically as you can and in as few words as possible. I'm also going to ask that you write headlines for our next 2 headline types too, so don't worry if you can't come up with a bunch of options for this one. So pause the video now and take a minute or 2 to write 3 possible say what it is headlines. Moving on to headline type number 2, say what they get. So many companies lead with their features, feature after feature after feature, but nobody buys features. They buy the outcome that you can give them, a single outcome, just one. If I were to tell you that you only had room in your headline for one single outcome, what would you write? What's the single most important thing a customer, client, or student will get from your experience product? Well, we asked web analytics company Crazy Egg that question, and they answered with a question of their own. This is a website analytics software company that could have hidden behind feature after feature after feature. But they sat down and figured out the biggest thing that they could offer that would be of interest to their customers. One key piece of knowledge. What's making your visitors leave? So they crafted their headline around promising the key pieces of information. What's making your visitors leave? Genius. Who wouldn't want to know that? And here's an example from Pandora.com, the online radio station with thousands of stations, hundreds of thousands of artists, and billions of choices. Now, most people would lead with that feature, the massive choice of music, just like cable TV companies always talk about hundreds of channels. You'll never be bored, and secretly we think hundreds of channels, but they're all crap. But Pandora flipped that on its head. Their headline is, it's a new kind of radio, stations that play only music you like. Again, genius. Who wouldn't want that? And very experiential. So I think you've got the idea of the say what they get formula for writing headlines. So over to you. If you were in an elevator and you only have enough time to express the single most important, most valuable outcome to your visitor, what would it be? Take care to filter this through your customer's eyes. Why would they want this? Not you, them. I don't want to choose between 1,000 radio stations. I only want one that plays only the music I like. I don't want more software, but I do want to know why visitors are leaving my site. Say what they get in a way that lights me up, pulls me in, and gets me excited. So pause the video and take a few minutes now to jot down 3 potential say what they get headlines about your experience product. Okay, go. Nice work. Even if you end up using your product mission as your main sales page headline, you've seen that every section on a sales page starts with a new headline. This type of headline could work well for the section that transitions from the problem to the solution. Headline type number 3, say what you're able to do with it. This is where the headline makes it clear what you're able to accomplish if you buy. My first example is from Coach and Money Goddess Morgana Ray's site. Make money by putting love first. Pretty compelling, right? Next, I have a great example from the Lockatron website, Unlock Your Door Without Keys. And my final example is from our old Message to Money website, Create a Business You'll Love. Okay, so what about you? What can we do with your experience product? What's the number one thing that you'd like to promise people that they'll be able to do if they keep reading? Take a few minutes now to brainstorm 3 possibilities. Now that you have some initial headline ideas, it's time to add, edit, and revise until you have a headline for each section of your sales page. If you're creating a sales page for your experience product, I recommend writing several variations of each headline. Just keep punching them out. Take the time to write and play with them, shorten them, lengthen them, come up with different angles. And don't worry, all your headlines don't have to be winners. In fact, most of them will suck, but write them out anyway. Don't hold back. Don't limit yourself to a certain number of words, and don't delete a single headline. Not even the half-assed swear word-filled ones you write when you're thoroughly over this entire exercise. The bad headlines will often lead you to the good ones. Remember, your headlines are the most important part of your sales page, and you have the 3 main formulas you need to be a headline hero, so you can draw your visitors in and keep them skimming down the page. Now, let me give you some final tips and techniques for spicing up your headlines. Swap dull words for sticky ones. Go on over to thesaurus.com, plug your boring words in to find interesting synonyms. For example, in the super overused headline, Save Time and Money, you might take the word save and look for a more memorable, powerful verb such as seize, unshackle, or shield. Sure, those verbs sound crazy now, but they're memorably different, which is better than being safe and boring. Create word pictures. This is a classic long-form sales writing trick made famous by Robert Collier. Your words can and should, where possible, create mental images. That may mean using an analogy, simile, or metaphor. It may mean piggybacking off power-packed images, like the American flag, a wizard, or a lost puppy. The idea is to create a sharp visual that will make your message stickier. Note, this is the only place that you get to be creative in headline writing, but keep in mind that it needs to be done clearly. Steal from the voice of your customer. Talk to your customers. Look at their give them what they want surveys, especially any places where you invited them to share their own thoughts. I found that there are usually a few gems in survey responses because your customers may be able to see things from a fresher perspective than you can. Borrow from bloggers. Journalists and bloggers are skilled at getting to the point quickly and with memorable yet simple words and analogies. Pay special attention to the titles of their blogs and articles. Plug in newsy or credible data. Did someone recently do a study you can leverage? Did you? Take data from wherever you can find it, as long as it's reliable, and make a few headline variations that incorporate actual numbers. I recommend using numerals rather than written numbers. Now finally, weed out the obvious junk. There's a lot to be learned from the bad work that you do, which is why I told you not to delete any of your ideas in the previous step. Bad ideas can be seeds for great ideas, but sometimes crap is crap. So go through your headlines and yank out the real stinkers so you're left with the gold. Crummy headlines include those that start with we or our or anything that isn't about your visitor. Unnecessarily long headlines. Unnecessarily short ones, which usually become meaningless or so generic that any of your competitors could easily say the same thing. Those that are trying to be clever. Those that require a decoder ring to understand. Headlines that use industry jargon or assume readers have a certain level of knowledge about what you do or your industry. Okay, let's move on to the third area in your business where words have huge bottom line potential for your business. And that is your squeeze pages, where you start your relationship with new subscribers. Now, this section is optional since many of the campaigns that I'm teaching you in this module don't require squeeze pages. The only campaign that requires a squeeze page is the fast result campaign, though some people also choose to build a squeeze page to invite people into a start with an experience campaign. So let's dive in and talk about the kind of copy that squeeze pages really need to have in order to convert 50% or more of your visitors into subscribers. Here's a squeeze page that I created for our Message to Money preview webinar that promises to teach you how to get 300% more clients and sales if you attend the event. Remember that the only purpose of a squeeze page is to inspire someone to give you their email address. In other words, it has no other purpose in this world. That's its only job. So it has to be darn good at that job, especially if you're sending valuable traffic to that page. So your squeeze page only needs a few basic things to do that. Some squeeze pages are super simple and have just a great headline and a button. And some squeeze pages are a bit more complex and also include bullet points, and that's basically it. You only need 3 things: a headline, a button, and some bullets to make an awesome squeeze page that can start converting visitors into subscribers so you can fill your webinar, build your list, and start selling your products. First, let's talk about the headline. We already covered headlines in depth, and I do want to add a few thoughts about the specific kinds of headlines that work best on squeeze pages. On a squeeze page, you want to go for what I call a hooky headline. What I mean by that is a headline that grabs attention by making one specific promise to the visitor or solving one specific problem for them. Here's what I mean by that. Remember our example earlier about what's making your visitors leave your website? Note that the writer didn't say how to keep more people on your website. He said, what's making your visitors leave your website? That's a lot more specific. And when you can get specific about the very small but painful problem you're solving, more people will respond. The thing to understand is that big, general, important to the world kind of problems that you might be trying to solve are very rarely, if ever, painful enough for people to want to solve them. So they don't opt in. World hunger, yes, of course it's important, but it's not painful enough for most people in a day-to-day sense to engage with you in a conversation around that or give you their email address. But if you put a headline in front of me that said, have you ever wondered why you can't ever seem to find something to eat in your fridge? Oh my God, that's a report that I would opt in for 100 times if I could, because there's something clearly wrong in the way that I shop for my groceries. It's like I'm spending hundreds of dollars a week and I still don't see anything that I want to eat when I go to my fridge. There's something wrong there, and I would love to solve that problem today. Get my point? That's a highly desirable piece of information to have that people are really going to want to sign up for. Internet marketer Andy Jenkins didn't name his ebook the Top 100 WordPress Plugins. He named it the Top 100 WordPress Plugins for Internet Marketing. Simply by adding the words for internet marketing, the report goes from being a generic one-size-fits-all tech resource to a specific pain-solving must-have guide for internet marketers. Can you see the difference? So to sum up, if you take away nothing else from this entire session about copywriting, I want you to take away this. The best copywriting is about resisting the urge to try to solve all of your visitors' problems in one fell swoop. That's the biggest mistake that people make. Here's an example. A good friend of ours launched a platform around helping people find and face the fears that are holding them back in life. He's so passionate about this because he's worked through a lot of fear in his own life and found some of the freedom that lies in facing that fear and letting it go. It's really important work that could help a lot of people. He came to me and asked my opinion on the best way to get people in the front door. What kind of squeeze page or offer is going to inspire someone to leave their email address? When we talked, he was stuck on offering them a 20-page manifesto that he'd written, talking about the whole fear problem and the cost it's having on society, and his solution for fixing it. While that's a fine thing to have for later, it's not something that I would put anywhere near the front end of his business. I told him people just don't have time for that. I advised him to solve one hyper-specific problem for his visitor. I told him to think about if fear were holding someone back, what's the pointiest, most painful way that could show up in their life and that most people could resonate with. After some brainstorming, we came up with the idea of offering a quiz where people could discover the number one thing that's really stopping them from earning what they're worth. It's a 1-minute quiz, just a handful of questions, and he asks them for their email address at the end, and it's working really well for him. If you are implementing a marketing campaign that requires a squeeze page and haven't chosen your squeeze page headline yet, pause this video and take a few minutes to brainstorm that right now before we move on. Remember to focus on something specific and hooky. So I'm going to end this section on squeeze page headlines by paraphrasing the great Nelson Mandela. If you talk to someone in a language they understand, that goes to their head. If you talk to them in their language, that goes to their heart. Okay, let's talk about the second part of your squeeze page, your button text. Studies show that your button text can make a big difference. Simply by changing the text on your buttons, you can increase conversions by several percentage points. Button text usually has 2 to 3 simple yet compelling words, and sometimes as many as 10 words. I'm going to quickly share with you the 4 most common approaches that I see to creating your button text, and I've identified these after studying thousands of sites. Whether you put those buttons on squeeze pages, sales pages, or your main website. The first approach to button text is the most common, and it's what I call the what you see is what you get button. I'm going to give you a bunch of examples here since most people take this approach and it's a safe bet. Let's start with this example from Digital Marketer. Check out the big orange Download Now button. That's common. You can't go wrong with Download Now if you have a downloadable resource. We use these on our Superhero Summit squeeze page all the time, as you can see here. This one says Download Now, free. Here's another variation of Download Now, and that's Download Your Copy. You'll also notice that we have some extra text below it to reinforce the value of the download. So our button says Download Your Copy and start improving your sales today. Then you've got Get Started Here, or variations such as Get Started Now, or just Get Started. This next example from Ali Brown is really common for video trainings and recordings. That's Get Instant Access, or in this case, Get Instant Access Now. Or this variation from Alexis Neely that says Free Instant Access. Here's a Register Now button, which is super common for webinars. Or this variation which says Register Now and get your bonus homepage templates. You'll also see webinar registration pages with Claim Your Seat Now buttons. Other examples of the straightforward approach to button text that simply conveys what you get are Send Me the Report, Watch Video Now, or just Watch the Video. Or if you're bypassing an opt-in and want someone to watch something right away, Play Video. If you're creating buttons on a confirmation page or value page to invite someone over to a sales page or other resource, you might want to use a button like Read More, Learn More, or Find Out More. Now here are a couple examples for quizzes, surveys, and assessments. Take the quiz, or a longer version customized to your topic, such as Take the Quiz and Start Improving Your Sales Today. The next one specifies how long the quiz is going to take to reassure people it won't take much of their time. It says, Take the 2-minute survey now. An advanced technique is to create what's called a reverse opt-in, where you wait to ask for the opt-in until after your visitor takes a quiz or survey. If you do this, the button could say something like Send me my results. If you want a button that enlists people to sign up for a free initial consultation to kick off a Start with an Experience campaign, you could simply have a Schedule a Call button like this one at the top of our old Take Flight Now sales page. Or this example from the site we designed for Terry Jemmy that says Hook Me Up. Then, of course, you have buying buttons on your sales pages such as Add to Cart, or the less subtle Buy Now, or even Buy It Now in this case, or the more subtle Enroll Now. Or this example from our Message to Money Live sales page. Get your tickets now. Earlier in the registration process, we also had a button that said Claim Early Bird Pricing with a countdown timer to reinforce the special price. The next kind of button text approach is what I call the cheerleader button, because it usually has the word yes and it ends with an exclamation point. Anyone else hate cheerleaders when you were in high school? Just kidding. Here's an example from Callan Rush that says, Yes, send me the free template. And here's one from our Website in a Weekend sales page that says, Marisa and Murray, I'm in. Here's one from Morgana Ray that says, Make me a money magnet. And lower on down the page, you'll see, Let's go with an exclamation point. Morgana is always great for enthusiasm. And so is Marie Folio. Her button simply says sign up, exclamation point, and that's enough. And here's one from Evan Markatz that says join us. A twist on the cheerleader button is what I call the football player button, because this button knows exactly what it wants and it isn't afraid to ask for it. A colleague told me the best button he ever tested said, yes, give it to me now. You gotta love that. Crazy Egg founder Neil Patel is awesome at football player buttons. You have yes, send me the free traffic generation guide, or no, I have enough traffic. Or next up, the choice between send me the free guide to double my conversion rate or no thanks, conversion rate is not important to me. And we have this one from Brenda Norman. It says give me access. Now that's a button that knows what it wants. Now I'm going to end this video with our final type of button text, which I call branded buttons. These buttons reflect the core brand message or theme of your business. This one from Alexis Neely's Eyes Wide Open Life brand says, liberate me. This works for Alexis since her business is all about creating your life and business awake, aware, and on your own terms. On our first Superhero Summit site, we had a button that said Answer the Call, because that works with our superhero theme. So those are the 4 approaches to button text. If you're creating a sales page or a squeeze page, pause the video for a moment now and choose your button text for each page. Remember, this can be as simple as download now for your squeeze page and register now for your sales page. Don't overthink this. Okay, now let's talk about the most important kind of copy after your headline. Bullet points. Bullet points are often used on squeeze pages, sales pages, and general website pages because they make people stop if they're skimming down the page and focus on a bite-sized, results-driven component of your offer. This is critical stuff because as readers take in your sales page, they're going to have a lot of information flowing towards them. Bullet points give them some relief from long paragraphs of text, and because of that, readers tend to give them extra attention. On squeeze pages, bullet points help your visitor understand at a deep level what your free gift will do for them by painting the most amazing picture that they've ever imagined. Bullet points are your opportunity to get across the punchiest, sexiest aspects of what you're offering and stack them one on another until you've delivered so many I've got to have that moments that your reader decides to make the purchase. So let's talk about what kind of bullet points trigger positive emotional responses to your product. Keep in mind that you've already done much of the heavy lifting when you worked on your feature and benefit statements in Module 3. Now you get to bulletify those statements so they're ready to go on your sales page, if you're creating one. The first rule of great bullets is don't focus on the features of what you're giving away. No one cares how long it is or how it's going to be delivered to them. Focus on your audience, what they want, and how they'll benefit. Paint a vivid picture of the immediate result or transformation that the person will experience, such as finally discover why you never seem to earn what you're really worth. One trick that works for me when writing bullets is to pretend the reader has the attention span of a 4-year-old, about 2 seconds. Picture your prospect as the laziest person in the world, looking for any reason to stop reading. Motivating them to register is difficult, unless it's clearly demonstrated that it's worth it for them to do so. Keep listening to discover 5 specific ways that you can use bullets in your squeeze page copy that get those lazy prospects to take action. The first kind of bullet point is what we call the best in your situation bullet. Here's an example of that bullet in action. How to determine the best business model for your unique gifts and talents. Okay, so this bullet does 2 things. First, it promises you how to determine the best, which is important because your readers are often overwhelmed by choices. They worry that they'll take the wrong path or worse yet, never decide on a path to take at all. Letting your readers know that you'll help them figure out the best approach is powerful, anxiety-reducing stuff. Second, this bullet point effectively personalizes the approach by saying for your unique gifts and talents. This further cements the idea that this benefit of the bullet will work for me in my situation. That's another anxiety reducer. So if your offer contains something that can help people make decisions based on their personal situation, this is a powerful type of bullet point to offer. The second kind of bullet point is what we call the stop losing X bullet. For example, how to get a crystal clear picture of how your business makes money so that you can finally stop wasting time on unprofitable income streams. This bullet is longer than I'd like it to be, but it still does the job. It leverages 2 pain points, wasting time and unprofitable income streams, and points to a solution, clarity. This style of bullet acknowledges your existing problems, but promises to help them finally stop. Note the use of the word finally to create a stronger emotional response. The lesson here, don't just say, here's something cool about my offer. Let your reader know that one or more of their pain points can stop because of your solution. The third kind of bullet point is what we call the counterintuitive bullet. An example of this one is why you never want to compete on price. This kind of bullet also taps into 2 powerful psychological factors. The first is taking a counterintuitive stance that piques curiosity. We're conditioned to compete on price because we're bombarded by discounts and deals all the time. Most entrepreneurs feel some insecurity around their pricing. So hearing that price isn't what we should compete on makes us wonder, okay, then what's the alternative? We're curious and left hanging, which makes us want to find out more. Second, you want to promise they'll get the counterintuitive piece of info that you have for them if they take action. By saying you should never do what the reader is likely to be doing, you nurture a sense of need for the real solution. and the reader's hand starts reaching for the Visa card or the register button. Of course, you need to deliver the goods with this one. You can't just say this for the sake of creating tension, or you'll lose trust, and rightly so. But if you have counterintuitive points to your offer, this is a powerful way to get the value of your information across. The fourth kind of bullet point is what we call the avoid these mistakes bullet. Here's an example: the worst website and squeeze page disasters and how to make sure they don't happen to you. This kind of bullet is incredibly powerful because as humans, we tend to have a stronger response to avoiding loss and pain than we do to taking positive actions. This is a solid bullet point, and I wouldn't change a thing because it does three things. First, it identifies the pain point, totally screwing up your website or squeeze pages, so the fear of loss is activated. Second, it uses words like worst and disaster, emotionally charged words that amplify the fear of loss. Finally, it offers the solution bridge with how to make sure these disasters don't happen to you. Being able to say this will help you avoid pain is an incredibly strong selling point, especially if you amplify the pain with effective trigger words. Now, I'm not recommending that you create a false sense of fear. That's not cool. But if you know there's a particularly powerful pain point that you can help your reader avoid, this is a great strategy. And by the way, I've had my share of website and squeeze page disasters, so I can relate. The fifth kind of bullet point is what we call the fascination bullet. For example, the secret gold mine hidden right under your nose and why it's the cornerstone of your online success. This bullet gives nothing away and actually makes you wonder, what are they talking about? What's hidden right under my nose? You don't know what the hidden gold mine is, but you don't have to because it's tied to a benefit. It's said to be the cornerstone of your online success. The whole point of this bullet is to reveal an important benefit and make you wonder what it is. If something sounds juicy enough, you just have to find out what it is. If you have special terminology in your offering, creating a fascination bullet can be a powerful conversion tool. But you can use it in other ways as well. When Murray was writing bullets for a webinar I did last year, he wrote a bullet point that went something like, find out what Marisa really thinks of the big design agencies. Readers were left wondering what juicy information was in that interview. So now you know 5 ways to make high converting bullet points, but you can go further. The next time you see a squeeze page or opt-in page, look through the bullet points and ask yourself which ones seem the most compelling to you. Then copy-paste them into a swipe file you can look at later for inspiration and examples when it comes to creating your own bullet points. If you're using a squeeze page or sales page with bullets for your experience product marketing campaign, then take the time to write your own bullet points using our 5 bullet point formulas when this training ends. Okay, so that's it for copywriting basics. I know this was a meaty training. Learning how to write for the web takes practice, so please have patience with yourself. Put on your experimenter's hat and get started. Don't worry about trying to be perfect, just get it done to the best of your ability. The more you practice, the better you'll get. You now have the copywriting savvy that you need to finalize your website copy and publish any website ATM pages that you need for the marketing campaigns you chose. If you're using website ATM pages, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to write your copy so you can take your pages live. Whether or not you choose to build website ATM pages at this time, the online writing tips that you learned today will come in handy for any marketing campaign that you're working on, since all marketing campaigns involve the written word. In our next optional training, you'll learn all about experience marketing technologies. It's a crash course in the basics that you need to start selling online. But remember, you don't need any fancy tech to reach mission accomplished. You can run many of the marketing campaigns I'm teaching you without relying on any fancy technology at all. Now go out there and live your message.